It is day 27 of the 31 and 31 Kaijufest for the Terrible Terror podcast. And oh my god, we're almost done. After this one, I've only got 4 more films, day 28, 29, 30, and 31. I wonder what film I'm going to end it on. That's actually a pretty good question, but I'm not sure. But I'm here to talk about Godzilla against Mechagodzilla. Again, this is another reboot film. It's weird because we just had a reboot film in that last Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, All Monsters Attack film. Which is funny because Baragon is not in the title yet. He's in the movie, but it gets his ass kicked early, so maybe that's why. But anyway, so this is the 2000, the Millennium series. Started off with Godzilla 2000, of course. And this one, like I said, it is a reboot. It starts off with Godzilla attacking a town, and we had our heroine, Akane, here, and she makes a mistake, which gets a bunch of people killed. Basically, you see a car roll off the cliff, and then them all get stomped to death by Godzilla. It's relatively funny. But, in the course of the film, of course, it's a little bit tragic. Then we cut to current day prime minister, who eventually is going to, spoiler, pass it on to the guy that she's talking to, and he's going to become prime minister. But they actually go back and they talk about other monsters, which I thought was weird. They talk about Mothra, and they talk about one, I can't remember the name, but he's not really, he's another kaiju film. And it's why they created these like electronic, like lightning guns, basically. And so they say, they created this thing to defeat Mothra, they created this thing to defeat this guy, and then they tried using it on Godzilla, but it didn't really work. So here you have Godzilla, and he's not really going to do anything for another, hour, something like that. At least 40 minutes into the film, then he decides to come back and actually wreak havoc and terror on other people. But you see, they built Mechagodzilla from the bones of Godzilla, and not any Godzilla, from the Godzilla from the 1954 one, where they used the oxidizer on. So this is kind of like a weird thing, and I know Richard the Fear Merchant, if you ever listened to his podcast before, but he, I guess, was referring to this one when we thought about the very first Mechagodzilla, but no, this is actually when they decide that this is the reason why. You see, they end up actually fighting. Godzilla comes into town again, to fuck shit up, and they decide to send Mechagodzilla to fight him. And everything's going fine until Godzilla decides to roar, and then all of a sudden, the Godzilla inside the Mechagodzilla wakes up, who they call Kiryu. They call him Mechagodzilla sometimes, but for the most part, they just call him Kiryu. It sounds like kill you, but it's Kiryu. And so when that happens, he doesn't want to obey any orders from Akane, who the human side of this film is really about them developing the Mechagodzilla, her getting over the fact that she's killed a bunch of people, the daughter of the guy that likes her that also helped build Mechagodzilla, her getting over the fact that her mom died when she was 4, and him trying to get a date with her, which eventually he does at the end of the film, which he's very excited about. So since she can't control it, and everybody's also with the G-Force people or whomever you want to talk about, the Kiryu squad or whatever, they are a little untrusting of her because she got a bunch of people killed, especially Hayame. His brother died because she, didn't react fast enough. So he holds a grudge against her. Anyway, so Kiryu goes crazy and starts basically blowing everything up until the end of his battery runs out. And when his battery finally runs out, then you see the destruction that he's left behind. And the prime minister is kind of blamed for it because he's the one that pushed the whole program. And everybody's kind of like, well, should we use it again? Well, we don't really have anything against Godzilla. And so when Godzilla attacks once again, then it's time to go into action and actually bring him out. So the father scientist guy, he figures out that something else needs to be tied to it, basically like a blocker against the old Godzilla. Because when he heard the roar, the old Godzilla was like, man, I'm Godzilla, and these people have fucked with me, so I'm gonna fuck up their city. And he does, but now he's got like a blocker or something in place. See, I thought they were gonna do something like, he's gonna use like the soul of his dead wife is going to be put in there, and that's going to make the daughter happy. But the daughter has something like, hey, why are we just using him? Because he has a soul and he's his own person and he should be friends with Godzilla. He shouldn't fucking kill Godzilla. And they're like, look, Godzilla is going to fucking kill us if we don't fucking kill him first. So they finally get into one last fight because it takes 3 years to fix Kiryu. And Godzilla doesn't attack in that time frame. Oh, no, sorry. It took 3 years to create him. It took, I don't know how long for them to fix him or whatever it is. If I'm right about that originally, I guess I'm right. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But he waits to attack before they can basically fix him, right? It's odd. If I was Godzilla, I'd just fucking attack again. Oh, he's down? Okay. Let's go. So they have a massive fight. And eventually Godzilla gets the upper hand, but Akane realizes that even though, Mechagodzilla has been beat up, and I should say the battle is not too terrible. It's entertaining. There's some really good ones that action sequences that made me smile, especially the one where Mechagodzilla picks up Godzilla by the tail, turns on his rockets, and spins around and throws them. I really found that. The battles are a lot more fast paced. They're not like the slow, giant kaiju fighting. But again, I think in the 2000s, a lot of this has come down to lasers. It's almost like watching a Dragon Ball Z episode and waiting for them to power up, and then they're just going to shoot fucking lasers and atomic fire and not fight as much. But they do fight some inside of this one. And I say it's still pretty entertaining. And because of the short runtime, you actually get quite a bit of the kaiju battles. So eventually Akane, she figures out she needs to actually go inside and manually pilot Mechagodzilla, which I thought she was going to do anyway, but no, they've been doing it from a plane. So when she gets inside and she starts getting ready to pilot it, I was really stoked. And then the absolute zero gun that they use, he's got this thing in his chest where basically it fires a ball of ice like he's fucking Sub-Zero and freezes things down, and then they fucking shatter. And there's a misused fire of one, and then there's the actual last minute firing of it where the Hayame, he tries to sacrifice himself basically to stop Godzilla from shooting his fire breath. And then, she is able to rip him out and get him to safety before everything blows up. And there's a giant icicle that happens in the ocean. And Godzilla walks away and she emerges with Kiryu being damaged. So there is a stinger scene actually at the end of the credits, which I thought was really funny. That there actually was one, and it's not really that entertaining. But the next film is a direct sequel. So overall, what do I think about this film? I think the action sequences are great. The human story, it's okay. And I think the models look great. I like the way Godzilla looks in this one, but I miss the older ones where he has big giant rows of teeth. He's got 3 rows of teeth. Now he's back to just having 1 row of teeth. But at least he doesn't have his son, so I don't have to complain about that. But he looks good. I miss the white eyeballs from the last one. But I like the way that they use the eyes in this one. I think that works out really well. So I would give this 3 out of 4 3 absolute zeros out of 4. Out of 5. I mean, it's late. I'm finishing these things really late at night. I would recommend it if you want to see it, if you've never seen it before. I just can't give it a 4. I don't know why. It's just, there's something about it. I think that some of the little stuff in the beginning was a little slow. And I don't really like the characters all that much. I hate the little girl. I just think it's a waste of having a character. I understand plot points, blah, 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 and growth and everything like that. But it seems very stereotypical Japanese. So with that being said, that's another one of the books. We've only got 4 more. Tomorrow we will get the sequel to this film.